I note that in the 2023-24 budget, the allocation was 20.4 million for sport and recreation. It's gone up to 40.12 in 24-25. I expect this is all the election commitments to sporting clubs. Is that right?
I would imagine that's...
It's, through you, Minister, it's predominantly the election commitments for the fund, plus also some reprofiling changes from the 23-24 year into the 24-25 year based on the grant payments.
Mm-hmm. And importantly, I note at footnote 11 it mentions the $5 million for repairs to the Glenorchy pool are also included in this line item. So I just wanted to be clear that that is the case, Minister.
That is, through you, Minister, that is the advice I have, yes.
So it's definitely in there. $5 million for the Glenorchy pool repairs is definitely in the budget.
Is in there and will be delivered.
People of Glenorchy will be very pleased.
Yes, so will the Mayor.
Current?
Current as well as former.
Also, a note on page 350 of budget paper number 2, volume 1. There's a reference to $49.7 million over 4 years for new Southern Tasmanian sporting facilities. So I'm keen to get clarity on what this includes and desperately hoping it includes funding for the Northern Suburbs multi-purpose indoor court facility, which was promised back in 2018, because this doesn't appear to have its own line item referenced in the notes or footnotes anywhere, whereas other community sporting facilities have their own line item.
Yes, the new Southern Tasmanian sporting facility, yes, that's where it is. That's where one of the members talking is included in that one.
Yes.
It's definitely in that line item.
The forecourt facility is included in that line item. And
through you, Minister, this is one of these ones that we will be breaking out in the future. It's we're just
breaking out
into its separating out into its various components, and so we're just undertaking the site selection work at the moment for the various components. And so once we have clarity on numbers, preliminary designs, we will seek Treasury's approval through the Minister to actually break out that to the various components.
So the reason that it's all included is that includes the money for the Jack Jumpers high performance facility and also an allocation for the gymnastics facility.
Okay.
But the forecourt facility is in there and is $30 million of that 49.7.
Excellent. That was my next question, was where is the Jack Jumpers High Performance Training Centre also included in there? Because the recent question I asked in this House, and you provided an answer through the leader about the amounts allocated, was $30 million for the Northern Suburbs Community Courts.
Yes.
15 million for the Jack Jumpers High Performance Training Centre, which adds up to 45 million.
Yep.
So I imagine there's 4.7 million additional there for
drifting.
Yep.
For the gymnastics. For gymnastics and for
through you, Minister, the project costs, some fees and other type of matters that just haven't been allocated yet. So.
Well, that's a relief. Thank you for clarifying that. And it will be separated out.
It will, and we will have a site selected very soon for the forecourt facility as well.
Very soon, like in the next 4 weeks. Well, it was going to be by the end of August. The shortlist was going to be provided. That's right. My birthday, Christmas Eve.
That's when you want to hide stuff.
Through you, Minister, Infrastructure TAS is currently undertaking, they've started with a long list of sites. We've moved that down based on some community feedback, consultation with the council and various users. And now what we're doing is we've got a very small number of sites left when we're taking preliminary works on those sites. So when I say preliminary works, we're looking at geotechs, zoning and those type of things, so that we can have clarity on the way forward, so that the community understands that, not all the risks, because we can't, we're doing boreholes, we're not doing full geotech networks at this stage, but at least we can work through some of the risks, so that when we provide advice to government for government to make a site selection, it's as fully informed at the right stages of this construction or the design as possible.
So I committed before I walked in here, Beck, that I would mea culpa over this. I know it's taken too long. I know how many people are waiting for it. we will get the site selection done as quickly as possible, and we will hit the ground running with construction as quickly as we can after the submission of a DA for it as well.
Excellent.
We know how important it is, and I don't mind putting on the record that this was a 2018 election commitment. I was a staff member when we chose Wilkinson's Point as the original site to build it. The Jack Jumpers came along and we made the decision to combine the two facilities because we thought that was the right thing to do. Obviously, there were then challenges with developing that Wilkinson's Point site, and we separated them back out again. And I know there was disappointment that we identified the Jack Jumpers site before the forecourt facility community site as well, and people feel like we'd neglected it. We absolutely haven't. We know how important that facility...
Taken 2 more elections to get there.
It has,
Yeah.
yes, but we will get the site selection done, like I said, and we will get construction started as soon as humanly possible.
I appreciate your acknowledgement of that, Minister, and I also know that you also know. I'll keep asking you until it's delivered. Standing up for the people of Elwick. The Secretary mentioned that consultation has been undertaken with user groups in recent times about potential sites. Are you aware, Minister, of who has been consulted with in terms of user groups?
I'm not, but I'm happy to let Craig...
I am just going to need a second to check my list, I'm sorry. So if I can move on and I'll come back to it, I'm sorry.
Yep, that's fine. I might move on then to, whilst you check that, ice sports, another of our favourite discussion topics, and wonder if you have any update on progress since the feasibility study was released in February.
Craig, would you like to talk about ice sports?
Sorry. Thank you, Minister, and through you. Events Tasmania did a high-level study, as has been publicly released, on both potential site options, potential models, and various other matters on that. Since that time, we have been looking at options to make the proposition attractive to a private sector provider, and the Minister said that when he released that document, that the government would be looking at seeking some land from the council and also looking at options for a private sector provider. I made the decision to take a pause on some of the, and I will come to EOI and whatnot in a second, while Parliament considered the changes to the Tasmanian Development and Resources Board Act, because that provided some new levers that the department could provide the government with to consider about options to provide those type of financial incentives going through either a loan, equity, different type of mechanisms. So following the passing of that act, we've now started to commence work on a registration of interest process that would be released somewhere between mid to late October, and this process will enable us to test, first of all, is there interest in the proposal so that we can understand what teams they have, what risks they are proposed to the government, and really a pre-market testing. If there are, registrations come back and proposals come back in October and November, the team will look at, reviewing those through and establish EOI assessment criteria, confirming details and project government, determining government options and providing options to the Minister on should the government and the TDR board, if that's a pathway we choose to go down, about options for government's offering to support the development should the government want to make that policy decision. Following that, if everything goes well, we'll put an expression of interest to the market to undertake a bid in relation to that and really assess that. Hopefully in early 2025, the plan would be to have the market participants come back, articulate, assess it, and then move forward. I want to be clear that should any financial support need to be considered through this process, first of all, if it's through the TDR board, there's mechanisms in that area to be able to do that. If it needs to be through the budget process, the aim is to be able to have that in the 25-26 budget process so the government can make decisions and choices at that period of time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. And my final couple of questions are in relation to regional sport and recreation infrastructure planning. Minister, we've had conversations about this previously, and Greater Hobart councils have requested for some time state government funds to assist with the preparation of a regional sport and recreation infrastructure plan for Greater Hobart. Only to be told that the government is doing a statewide sport and recreation infrastructure audit and strategy, and I feel like a lot of the community and political angst about both high performance and community facilities could have been avoided if only the time had been taken to strategically plan high performance and community assets, including geotechnical testing. And things like that, to look at suitability of locations, forecast participation data into the future, and an audit, first and foremost, of current facilities and participation data. So is the department working on a regional sport and recreation infrastructure plan?
We are. We're working with the existing infrastructure data sets of state and local government, state and national sporting organisations and the Department for Education, Children and Young People to inform an infrastructure gap analysis. This complex piece of work will complement the regional sport facility plan for Northern Tasmania, which was commissioned by 5 councils and completed in 2023. Combining facility plans and other data sets will enable the Tasmanian Government to best understand current and future demand for facilities. Yes, in the 2023 State of the State address, Active Tasmania was charged with conducting a whole-of-state facilities audit, and that's exactly what we're doing. But it is complex work to combine the data sets that I'm talking about from various locations as well. But that work is ongoing. And
councils are engaged in that work as well as facility owners?
Through you, Minister, we're sucking the data out of councils with my information, and that will continue to work with councils going forward.
So is your expectation, Minister, that the product at the end of this will include an audit of current facilities, analysis of current and forecast participation data, and identification of potential sites for the development of future facilities? So it's a really robust strategy, because the last thing that the sporting community and Tasmania needs is another sort of broad brush motherhood statement objective strategy when it comes to infrastructure planning. It needs to be on the ground,
and look,
ready to go.
To be clear as well, what we don't want is just a point-in-time analysis as well. We want something that's robust, that keeps updating, so that it can guide not just decisions for next year, but for 5 and 10 years as well. So yes, that's exactly what the intention is.
And do you know when you plan to have that piece of work completed, or hope to have that piece of work completed?
I'm not sure when we'll have that completed. The Minister has asked me to make sure resources are prioritised so it can be done as quickly as possible. I know, as you indicated, that this started back with the Greater Hobart mayors, and they continue to advocate for it. So we will prioritise this as quickly as possible.
Okay. And will you share details of a project plan on the department website or something like that?
Through you, Minister, I'm comfortable to put key dates up, similar to, and the dates I provide to the committee now, I've provided to Anna from Ice Skating TAS. I'm really comfortable to provide that information out as well.
This is for a broader sport and recreation strategy?
Yeah. And through you, Minister, just back on the other question, the advice I have is that we've done preliminary consultation on drilling with basketball, football, netball and futsal. We will continue. We haven't done specific consultation yet on the final sites that we've got down. Once we finish the work that we're currently doing, we will go back and do further user testing with those groups prior to providing a recommendation to government.
Will that include local clubs and associations, not just the state sporting organisations?
The advice I have is yes, it will.
I hope so. Thank you.